So I think we'll give 5 minutes, right? Just to see if someone else will be joining.
Yeah, Araceli, yeah. Thanks.
We're giving a couple of minutes just to see if someone else will be joining, okay?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Do you hear me right? It's correct? Okay, so welcome to our second EC4RURAL workshop. Today, thank you for being here today. And just for your information, the workshop is being recorded as we can upload it to our YouTube channel for those who cannot attend today on live. So as you may know, I'm Natalia, the EC4RURAL project manager. I'm together with Almudena, the project technician. We are here as the visible face of the University of Vigo. Xavier Simon, the project coordinator, could not be here today, so we apologize in advance for his absence. Okay, so in terms of EC4RURAL project, it is a live project with a principal aim is fostering local engagement for clean energy transition in rural areas through energy communities. In 22 rural municipalities in Galicia and in 12 ones in Estonia, we'll participate in an EC4RURAL pilot project over these next 4 years to define energy community models adapted to each local reality. The first rural energy communities are expected to be active in September 2025. Regarding this second workshop, the main purpose is to define energy community plans in Pilot 1, Spain, and in Pilot 2, Estonia. So today we would like to share specific objectives and approaches for the definition of energy community plans in both pilots, with the idea of learning from each other and involving different stakeholders to raise awareness of the EC4RURAL project. For that reason, we have here today Sapiens Energia and University of Tartu, who are the entity responsible for these plans in Spain and in Estonia, respectively. The agenda for this second workshop will be, first, we are going to know the new objectives of the energy community in rural energy communities in Galicia by Sapiens Energia. Secondly, we are going to know the Estonia objectives in terms of the Estonian rural energy communities by University of Tartu. And therefore, we have the examples of energy policies in Galicia, thanks to Manuel González, the mayor of Outes, and Carlos Martínez, the mayor of Vedra. So a special thank you for your participation today here as a living example of Galician municipalities in the EC4RURAL project. Note that Sandra González, the mayoress of Tomiño, was invited to, but finally she could not attend due to scheduling reasons. And at the end of these experiences, we will have the opportunity to open a dialogue among participants with thoughts, opinions, or any doubt you may clarify. So once again, thank you for being here today with us. And let's start with the Galician objectives by the hand of Araceli from Sapiens Energia.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for your time and your presence and your active listening. So yeah, I just want to start by pointing out that like we did with the previous phase, we will be the voice, but this is the compilation of all the work that has been done so far by the pilot team in Spain. So it's FEGAMP, Espazocop, University of Vigo, and ourselves. So yeah, what we want to briefly introduce is, as you know, so far we had a previous phase where we had a diagnosis from the local perspective, and also we analyzed the different CPAC strategies at local level, and we made some surveys also. So what we want to start up this conversation is with this information and how that it's linked with the rural energy community goals and what's our approach to those goals, how we have defined them, and afterwards just point out some of the gaps and opportunities that we are seeing to even improve the goals definition that we have defined so far. So in the next phase of the project, what we will be doing is just really prototyping those pilots. So really defining the viable solution from an economic, social, and technical perspective for specific locations. So as the scope, as Natalia mentioned, I want to point out really straightforward, the scope of these energy communities is to create PV plants at local level. So that's the scope of the goals that we have identified as well. And I'm gonna admit one more person. So moving forward from the CPAC strategies, and we will have some examples later on, what we see so far, we have analyzed 17 CPAC strategies, and what we see is that there are different levels of implementation so far, but at the same time, the same path has been followed. So regarding the different measures that were included, the municipalities start with mainly public lighting and renovating infrastructures as the most common investment that have been implemented already. And because the prioritization of measures and investment has been directly linked with which is the most directly impact that could be created through public administration, and how with those measures the public local administration can influence citizens' behavior by being an example for them to follow those actions. So as we also see in the diagnose phase, that was one of the barriers for the energy community development, which is the funding available, also which is the public funding available to promote those investments, has been one of the main triggers for following that path. And even though this was the prioritization, we can also see that the primary sources around CO2 emissions are more related with private residences and also service transport. So we see how private residences move from being responsible from 49 to 67% of CO2 emissions, and residential buildings move from 35 to 57% of CO2 emissions. So we see that it's moving from 4.1 CO2, sorry, I'm a little bit not feeling well today, so I'm a little bit slow, and I apologize for that. So moving for 4.1 tons of CO2 emissions to 4.7, and the goal is to reduce, with these mitigation actions, to reduce around from 1.5 to 2 CO2 emissions per inhabitant. So, and that's, we can see also what's the investment related per ton of CO2, and that moves from 200 euros to 600 euros mostly. But the thing here is that what we see in the measures and the estimated cost included in the plans, that the main estimated costs are related with investment. But when we see measures related with awareness and inclusions of citizens, that's not valued, or that's not estimated. So perhaps these figures go even a little bit higher. We also wanted to focus when we were talking with Auntie. We wanted to make a special focus on energy poverty, and what we see in these energy strategies is that vulnerable collectives are identified from the perspective of who are the more vulnerable to climate change, but they are not quantified. And even moving further, only 3 plans include specific actions to correct these situations or to alleviate these situations, right? And in contrast from the surveys that even we have some data, as you know, because here in Spain we have the national strategy level around energy poverty, even we have some figures at national level, we have detailed information about the specific context of EC4RURAL and the 22 municipalities here in Spain. And we ask a specific question about whether you have any problems paying your energy bill. And almost 40% of the people from 589 answers that we compile have problems. And also almost 22% of those people, even if they didn't have problems for paying their bills, they have problems for keeping their home at comfort level, which means we are higher than the figures at national level from what we see at the national level. So we could see that around 35% of the people that we survey in the particular context and in the 22 municipalities that we survey had problems, have situations that could be framed as energy poverty. So just moving to our approach to the goals that have been defined for the rural energy communities, we are thinking in the long term and which could be the impact of energy communities in a broader scale. So moving far beyond only of the PV plants and the pilots, we know that these are solutions that create triple impact. So it's around impacting and reducing the impact of the climate change, reducing CO2 emissions, or also gaining energy security or reducing energy poverty through the energy price, but also contributing to local economic development or promoting the local proximity economy. We could see even some measures in the CPAC around promoting local proximity economy, for example, as another vector of CO2 emissions. So this is the frame from the long-term perspective that we have considered, and going further and in another deeper level, what we have defined is specifically for the 5 years development of EC4RURAL in the 22 municipalities. Here we have compiled and summarized the goals of the 22 municipalities. What we have identified is KPIs related with energy community configuration. So what is the energy that we could produce in total, and what is the power that should be installed, and how many prosumers could access to this energy community. So we have around 834 prosumers at the end of the project that will be using this 0 kilometer renewable energy produce, green energy produce. Also, which is the economic impact? So what will be the investment needed, which is around 2.1 million, and what will be the savings that will be kept in rural pockets, which is around 866,000 euros. And from the social impact perspective, we try to point which will be the specific employment created with the PV plants. So that will be at the end of the project, summing up generation and management of the energy, around 14 fixed-term employees, And also, which will be the environmental impact. And as you can see, it's around 2,200 tons of CO2. So what are the gaps and opportunities related with diagnose and how can we move further and be even more ambitious around them? So what we see is that there is a clear alignment with the CPAC and the energy community goals, mainly with the measures of fostering renewable energy production and consumption. And we see a gap from the perspective of the goals that we have identified for the energy communities related with energy efficiency and energy use. So that's something that we are questioning how that could be included in the future as a goal. And also because we have identified the goal for 5 years, how can we even increase the level of ambitions in terms of growth and activities to be developed? So we are creating a network in 22 municipalities, so how these 22 municipalities in the future can cooperate and can reduce even further the prices of electricity by creating sorry, because there is people accessing. So by creating this network that cooperates within them. So how can this be included as a goal itself? That's something that it's being up in our mind. Also, let me see. Okay. Also, we see this common barrier related with the lack of resources at municipal level, at local level, not only from the municipality budget, but also from the available income per family that it's in these 22 municipalities. So how can these energy communities also support the local development, the economic local development far beyond? Also, as we mentioned, right, energy as a right in the long term, how do we include these excluded collectives in the energy transitions? They are not quantified, but do we know how to identify them? Is it possible to define a goal so 35% of the people in each community comes from these vulnerable collectives? And how can we define the solution? How do we split those plans in a way that it's people-centered? So include the financial capacity in the analysis to generate this energy split instead of moving only from energy efficiency, but also include energy financial accessibility. Also, the fourth topic that we identify is we see in the CPAC there are measures around citizens' awareness, not only by the municipality being an example, but also with trainings and also financial incentives, many different measures for getting citizens engaged in energy transition. So there are even energy renewable plants for local administration self-consumption plant. So would it be possible to as the pilot to involve the local community already? Because the plans were... Apologies, Dima, do you want to say something? Because I'm... and then you are being... and there's some noise. I'm sorry if you want to say something.
Araceli, put him please in silence.
I'm silencing him, but he's unsilencing himself or herself.
Okay. Maybe just to be more operative, if you make me amphitryon, I can manage it just in case this happens again. Thank you, Araceli.
Yes. So there are many actions for awareness in the CPAC. So how can we use the energy communities to support all this awareness strategy, but also related with consumption in the administration? Could we use those plans to collective self-consumption already, involve them? Because some of the plans were defined before collective self-consumption was allowed in Spain. So this is an opportunity we see. Also, the questions that I pointed out, how can we use energy as a tool for rural development? There are specific incentives for self-consumption. Can we create specific incentives for collective self-consumption at local level? Can we prioritize service access to self-consumption and warranty access for those services as local commerce, for example? And at the end, we also identified that in our goals, we didn't include anything around energy storage. And if we want to maximize the self-sufficiency and energy price reduction, perhaps we need to include this perspective when we move to the next phase. So yeah, we just identified some questions and I just want to leave them open. So perhaps it opens some conversation afterwards. So from your perspective, what should be the main priority for the rural energy communities in the first, second, and fifth year? What are the objectives from your perspective to which the energy community could contribute, and not from an individual perspective and also from a local perspective, and even be more ambitious from a regional perspective? How should energy poverty be included in the energy community configuration? How could the energy community contribute to rural economy development? What would you expect? And what should be the level of ambition in terms of growth and activities to be developed by the energy communities? What should be the specific goal related with that? So I know it's a lot of information and I thank you for your attention, and I leave it to Auntie.
Very good morning. My name is Antti Roose, University of Tartu. Tartu is calling. Can you see my slides?
Yes, Antti.
Yes.
So I'm going to continue storyline of community energy goals, Estonian case, 12 pilot municipalities. We also have generic information and knowledge on community energy progress, as well renewable progress enlarged in Estonia, which is contextualized to the current EC4RURAL project. As I stated in our last meeting, community energy is a strategic element in the draft National Energy Plan, NMAC, as we label and title it here in Estonia. But on the other hand, it says that there are any single exception or priority right under the law which regulates energy market and energy supply for community initiatives. It also states that besides all this conceptual and ideological support, it is highly important to keep in mind legal, technical, economical feasibility, and also obviously we have to add this social dimension here as well. what are general assumption if we are entering to the debate on setting goals and targets? First of all, we assume that consumption of electric energy will be increased in coming years. We don't know in which extent, but we expect that the increase will be bigger and bigger by years and more substantial in next decade. Then our tiny nation agreed that 100% of consumed electricity will be renewable by 2030, and according to various forecasts and foresights, it will be reached without, let's say, extra issues and burden in terms of economy and in terms of planning and deployment. Then, which is key issue across all European member states, is how we are balancing in our electricity system weather-dependent renewables with stable ones, which are also less carbon or free carbon, and also what still is missing and probably secondary approach in all those strategic developments, how grid and supply follows this generation and supply side. Also, we all agreed that it's not just central government task, but also local authorities should be supported in this massive renewable program. We also know that still prosumer proportion in relation to commercial generators of electricity is substantially small, no more than 10%, rather less than 5% of total, and also according to this graph, you can see that the bigger is commercial generation, obviously smaller is in this ratio prosumer side, and here obviously all those prosumers predominantly are individual prosumers, and the majority of them are also related to some household activities or some rural households, which include also some minor business activities. Also, we should keep in mind conditionalities for renewables in our project. Pilot municipalities Alutaguse, Elva and Rõuge cases are strictly conditioned by the national defense, as you can see in this red colored zone, and it's not just about wind turbines, but it also relates to the bigger solar farms. Also, all developments are strictly conditioned by the nature protection, and also we have to overlay, as you can see in this map, some other less restrictive cases and conditions set by green network, valuable landscape, and some other site protectional conditions. And to summarize, sparsely populated country like Estonia, and we have a lot of vacant land somewhere in remoteness, it's really illusion. Solutions, obviously, we continue rooftop installations, and technologies are really favorable, particularly in densely populated areas. We rely on infrastructure, premises-related projects, and brownfields are also supported by planning and other instruments. Arceli very precisely listed those totals in terms of climate protections, in terms of renewables generation, as well as social impact. I am really hesitant to do this, as we concluded with Liil Lumiste in our synthesis that those targets in terms of greenhouse gas reduction vary from -10% to up to 70, even 80%, depending on those more detailed specific conditions, as we assume that according to CCAP methodology, the mainstream still targets -30, -40% of carbon emission reductions by 2030. Also, what relates to renewables, also those percentages differ in large extent from 40 to 80% of consumed energy. Also, what is really important to make a note here is that the majority of those climate plans are just recently adopted, and we don't know any monitoring reports which have really strong proof and argumentation and reality check behind. That's why we are still keeping this qualitative approach, the rule here, and also we can conclude that those supportive measures for renewables, speeding up processing of permits, as in Spanish case, it's also quite a task of local municipality in this green transition as general to make sense of those sometimes really costly transformation and transition processes, which relates also to behavior change. So in more academic context, those rationals could be emotional, belief-driven, or this could be action-driven based on current trends and projected pathways in transformation from fossils to renewables. And also it's a really strong argument here in Estonia in which powers are given to the local authorities in relation to transition and all this localization, sharing those national targets, whether it's zero-sum game or there are some other implications why we can't divide national commitments equally or in some other rational basis to local authorities. This is another arena of innovations and transition. We agreed that we also relate our case to energy poverty, which is probably more critical in rural areas, and as I discussed with Neeme Karbo and previously with some others in European policy as well in Estonian policy, we are aiming to introduce precautionary measures to prevent energy poverty, and if energy poverty is already in place, then social support measures should be introduced, as it happened during the energy crisis when we were cut off of Russian natural gas in winter 22, and 1/10 of households received energy benefit. Also, what is important here in Estonian case, the renovation wave is speeding up, and the poverty is related not just electricity or heat energy consumption, but also to the inability to refurbish those projects. Also, in several cases, integrate PV and other renewable controls. And to summarize this poverty case, still there are no direct links in relation to energy community initiatives, and primary factor is still supply security and joint functions of communities in relation to energy consumption. So what could be goals in Estonian case, as we are not very clear on those quantitative targets, and we still need further refining and clarification those quite ambitious figures. First of all, we should set this community energy discourse in the local climate plans, as those are secondary or even further weaker positioned in the current adopted plans. We have to be more transparent on this gap analysis, as also we identified several barriers in the framework of this project. Several grid issues should be addressed, and many of those issues should be just stated by local authorities to the national government. And also we have to have longer-term vision, not specifically for 2030, but also the second longer-term vision for 2050 in some cases, or in majority cases, it's not very clearly visioned in terms of those interim indicators and targets. We also should be more focused on opportunities available in the development. We should sort out this leading or sometimes critical role of municipalities to supply this paperwork, or to motivate municipalities, or this quite professional support or very professional support which is requested for pre-feasibility studies, business modeling, project development. We are hoping to supply some training modules here in this project. So we are going to continue this setting goals, and mainly qualitative goals, not really quantitative indicators, share of prosumers or some other normalized figures, how many prosumers we have per 1,000 inhabitants, or for example 5% of generated renewables should be presumed, but we are not very argumentative, and we are not very confident to translate project indicators to the political commitments in municipality climate plans, but on the other hand, we should include those qualitative progress indicators in terms of diversification and planning construction rights, probably also setting a startup grant for energy municipalities, like it was implemented in some Central European as well as Southern European countries, at municipalities as well from EU co-funded sources. We really anyway support advisory consultancy services for communities as well. There are several other EU-funded or national programs, including some elements on renewables. And like this project, we are also trying to harmonize and mainstream those sometimes rather complex and high-tech, probably far too expensive for rural communities pilot projects. To switch to questions and discussions at the end of my introduction, we should keep, it's my strong message to this project as well, to all pilot municipalities, we should rather keep this qualitative agenda in our headlines as well, to convert it to the political will at local level to join up collective actions, and also as proposed by Araceli in Spanish case, still I think it's quite overshadowed and not much discussed here in Estonia, that we should set self-consumption rates and certain conditions. Like in Italy, there are some favorable conditions as you are presumer in case of self-consumption above 50% of generated energy, but in our case, it's not reflected by tariffs or other agreed resources which are given on equal rights to the extra large generators, similarly to the smaller ones. Also, we should keep in rural cases, as in general local cases, the social impact and obviously from our side, we continue to refine progress indicators to be in line with SECAP goals as well. We should find this link between project targets and progress, real progress in pilot municipalities, as we all know that PV boom continues and renewables are increasing, not just in general, but also in the prosumers segment. That's all from my side, and back to you, to Araceli and Natalia.
Okay, so thank you, Araceli and Antti, for your contributions. If anyone has any questions, we can discuss them later, because now let us focus on the Galician municipalities, the energy policy examples. So we start with Manuel González with the information from Autes, and thereafter with Carlos Martínez with the information from Vedra.
Before we continue, Natalia, I have a question.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted to use this time. So it's for Antti. Just to know a little bit more about maybe future opportunities or in your country or schemes. So just to say a little bit, in the Spanish case, we expect a couple of supporting actions from the government in the coming months. The first one for sure is going to be a support scheme for innovation projects to tackle the full poverty. We expect to have this scheme in autumn. And the second one we are expecting already for more than 1 year, because we already did this sorry, I cannot find the word. So they published a project for a royal decree. So we did all our aportaciones. So maybe someone can help me. I cannot find the word in English right now. So our proposals.
Contributions.
Yes.
Our proposals, and we expect to have this royal decree that integrates all the community energy legislation as well by the end of the year or something like that. Do you expect something like this in your country?
Yeah, indeed. As we are overwhelmed by the EU directives, which are very same across member states. The energy market is impacted or affected by harmonization, and major change we are going to see in coming years is aggregating those capacities across smaller generators, prosumers, as well as currently this wholesale electricity market operates on really large capacities, and those minor and small and even nano generators don't have access to to the electricity market in this way that they're generating powers are also follow all these peak load and other market volatilities, and it may have impact in terms of economic profits, but it also should be motivation for individual as community prosumers. Second, I'm still very confident that quite many initiatives in relation to PV and renewables, whether controlling or generating, is related to renovation wave and refurbishment, as hundreds of millions of euros are invested publicly as well privately in this arena, and quite substantial share of those millions will be related to renewables, and as the majority of those refurbishments occur in collective housing apartments, and associations will have direct powers in this process. It's a second arena of national initiatives for smaller prosumer side in the electricity market.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, so now I give the floor to Manuel González, if he's ready.
Okay, yes, good morning. I am going to try to share the screen. Let's see if I'm able to do it. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you can see my presentation. I'm trying to.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. Very briefly, because I think we only have 2 minutes. Thank you very much for the invitation. I come from a small municipality in Galicia, around 6,000 inhabitants. Okay. And I'm going to talk about very briefly about our local energy policy, although it's not a very active policy at the moment, or not yet. We are trying and we are working for improving it in the future, let's say that. Okay. So far what we have implemented basically are the measures you can see in the screen. We have prepared an action plan for climate and sustainable energy, which contains several measures that are related to energy policy as well, not only with this, but also with sustainability. So it's kind of a very general guide. And second, more related with the energy and energy management in our municipality, I think it's important because we have carried out energy audit that was hired to a professional team because we had important problems in terms of managing our energy consumption. We're talking about the municipality, okay, the institution. We didn't have a clear contract. We have a very disordered billing of our consumption. So yes, we hired an audit that was very useful, okay, because with this audit we were able to prepare a tender for our energy provision, okay, that we didn't have at the moment. We didn't have a general contract, unfortunately, for the energy provision. And we also were able to adjust our power, energy power to the real consumption. So we have this problem in our institution that we were not efficient in the way we manage the energy issues. Okay, so the energy audit was an interesting and useful, very useful tool for us. It also allow us to have application where we can monitor our consumption in the different infrastructure of the municipality, not in real time, but almost in real time. So it was very useful. Later, or in parallel, let's say that, we carry out some measures for energy saving, in particular.
I think he kicked out by mistake or something, so let's give him a minute to reconnect.
Yeah.
Maybe he just pressed the incorrect button by mistake. I hope he realized, because sometimes I'm just speaking and I didn't even realize that I'm on mute, so maybe it will take a little bit of time.
Eventually, he will
He will, yes.
realize. He will realize.
Meanwhile, and just to make some time, meanwhile we are waiting, I'm very interested, Auntie, in what you shared. So maybe for you to reflect and share after Manuel ends about these qualitative indicators for the energy community development, because we were reflecting about that a lot, and it's something that sometimes it's really, how you would say, with many different stakeholders from, and I would say it in first person from my perspective, it's very difficult to be sold, let's say, right? To pay the attention to those qualitative indicators, but at the same time, it's like in the long term, will make the change to become massive, right? For the solutions, from my perspective. So I'm really interested if you have something identified already about those qualitative indicators or not, and if you have something in mind, if we can talk about that, so a little bit.
Yeah, it's no. As we have been involved in drafting and consulting several CCAPs and climate plans across Estonia, in urban as well in rural areas, it wasn't really acknowledged and understood by local councils as well by local government, and also I have to admit that in those municipalities where we had really strong views against renewables and against Green Deal, then probably all councils and all this municipality institutional build-up adjusted and was more reality checked and more serious how we are planning this transformation and how we are going to monitor it, and what is distinction, as I also showed this academic insight to this story as well. What are those ideological cases behind the agreement and behind the council decision, and what are those rationales based on this materialistic reality, as I also displayed those conditional maps on national defense and on national nature protection, and I think as we as consultants, yeah, Araceli and university as well, supporting academically, we have to be more proof and evidence oriented to consult municipalities also in cases if this ambition is not very realistic. As well, we have to be very clear if those bit degraded, ambitious goals in relation to carbon emission reduction and emission in terms of renewable deployment are revised. If those ambitions are revised, it doesn't mean that we are going to say no to transformation and progress in relation to all our energy system and consumption and economy in large.
Yeah, fully agree. Nothing to add to what you are pointing out.
Probably we switch to another municipality. Oh, Manuel is coming back. Yeah. Lucky.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Yes. Sorry, I'm not. I was saying that we were trying to monitor real-time consumption in our municipality, but I was not that good monitoring my battery in the laptop. So sorry. Should I continue now? Yes. Sorry again. So I was saying, okay, that apart from the energy audit, we undertake some measures related to energy saving. Okay, we got important funding from Spanish institution, IDAE, that is for energy saving, and we substitute all our traditional light bulbs in the street lighting system, okay, by LED lights, okay, light bulbs. It was a project of almost 1 million euros, and we also have committed undertaken during the last couple of years also some actions in terms of energy saving in local infrastructure, like local swimming pool. Okay, I just want to show the importance of these measures. This is a chart of the public lighting consumption. In orange is the consumption. We basically, if you see here the arrow, we change the bulbs at this stage. It was 1.5 years ago. So you can see here the reduction, important reduction of the consumption. And for us, because I have to say that for us, one of the drivers for this initiative was saving money, because it was really crazy 2 years ago what the bill we have to pay for energy. So you can see here that at the moment we are approaching almost half of the expenditure we have 1/2 in a year ago. Okay, so this is just an example, okay, of energy saving, money saving because of our measures implemented. Then for the future, very quickly, okay, we want to continue with the measure for energy savings in public buildings and facilities, okay? Particularly those ones that are that consume more energy. We are talking about the swimming pool, the sports center, and particularly the wastewater treatment plant that we restarted a couple of years ago. So it's very important for us to save energy in this case, because we also save a lot of money. So we are going to continue with this. And also, we would like to have a more active role in energy issues, as you can read there. First of all, I cannot go in depth now, but with this point, but we have some projects for wind energy here, windmills in our municipality. So we are trying to reach some agreements with them in order to benefit from these windmill plants that they are planning to create here. At the moment, we have been quite passive in this sense. Also, the regulation, the general regulation, doesn't help for being, in our case, the municipalities more active. But we want to be more active, and we want to establish this kind of agreements with the wind energy companies. And second, of course, we are involved in this project, EC4RURAL, and we are involved in the creation of a local energy community. For us, it's important because we are talking about self-production, of energy. So it's an important step in terms of energy management. And well, as you know, the project is based mainly on the installation of photovoltaic power, and we are going to use public buildings, basically the swimming pool, the wastewater treatment plant, and the sports center. And it's very important for us as well. This is let's say the major second objective is to involve the civil society on these energy issues, because at the moment we see that the society, the citizens, well, they are very concerned about the energy, but they cannot do anything at all, because the system, the market is, as I guess we all know, is controlled by very big companies that they have almost monopoly power, although they are, of course, controlled by the anti-monopoly institutions, whatever. But in any case, the citizens, and we also, the local municipalities, are very passive actors in these issues. So I think it's important, and this is something that we really give a lot of value in this project. It's important to empower the society and ourselves in order to get or to move to a different system for managing energy. Okay, so this is very quickly, and sorry, more or less what I wanted to say. If you have later or more questions, I will try to answer these questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Manuel. Okay, now let's move to the Vedra municipality. So, Carlos Martínez, you have the floor.
Okay, hello, good morning. My name is Carlos. I am the mayor of Vedra. Vedra have 5,000 inhabitants. And in Vedra, for several years now, guided by a climate and sustainable energy action plan, we have initiated a progressive process on decarbonizing our municipal facilities. and at the same time our territory through incentives and community awareness. Some specific actions carried out in the area of our municipal facilities are: 1, converting all public lighting to LED, all. Lower intensity at certain hours of the day, as well as 100% supply guaranteed through renewables. Other, replacing all diesel oil boilers all with biomass boilers. Other, working on the roof and facades of buildings to improve their energy efficiency. And seeking energy self-sufficiency through solar panels in new buildings, such as co-working space. Well, some specific actions direct towards our residents are installation of 4 free public chargers for electric vehicles to promote electric mobility, tax incentives for those who use electric vehicles, tax incentives for homeowners who install solar panels in their homes, and with public-private collaboration, we currently want to use the roof of municipal buildings to install solar panels and establish an energy community, by the idea of democratizing access to energy, hence contributing to climate improvement, and above all, serving as an example for residents to replicate this initiative in other areas of the municipality. As of today, a study has already been carried out identifying which roof was by ideal. We will start with those located in the parish of Vedra. Additionally, we are in the process of seeking funding for the installation of the solar panels, as well as identifying individuals and families interested in participating in the project. We hope that the first energy community in Vedra will become a reality before 2026, more or less. And I apologize for my English. Sorry, and thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, and you don't have to apologize for your English. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Manuel and Carlos, for your presence and your participation, your active participation today. And now we can have an open discuss and comment all of your doubts.
Natalia and Araceli, probably we would like to invite Reigo Lehtla as a environmental counselor of Estonian Association of Cities and Rural Municipalities. Few words on what is the status of Estonian municipalities.
Yeah, of course.
Reigo, word to you.
Well, in Estonia, most municipalities already have those climate and energy plans, but they are not directly obliged to create those energy communities. So we expect some developments to happen in legislation, which introduce such not directly obligations, but endorses them to support them. And let's see if our project will contribute to this process in Estonia. Municipalities are different. Some have more interest and more funds to support this kind of activities. Some are poorer, but yeah, let's see what will happen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Reigo. Any other comments from Estonian project partners, Rafael or Neeme or others who are available today? Yeah, then we may have open discussion or some exchange of views, sharing the know-how from Galicia and Estonia. Araceli, any other key messages from this workshop as well from presentations of Galician mayors?
I was just let me order my thinking. No, I'm just grateful to have here Manuel, Carlos, and Asunción, which so far I think are mayors of the municipalities, and I think they're playing a key role, as you mentioned, also for Estonia. So we have that in common. What's their key role in fostering energy communities development and energy transition in a bigger scale? And I'm curious, to be honest, I'm curious because for what we saw, because as you know, Manuel, Carlos, and Asunción, FEGAMP already interviewed you, so we have your perspective around energy communities and energy transition. So we really read about your thoughts about the barriers you identify, etc. But Carlos, you specifically mentioned that the main driver for you was the economic savings for taking action, and I'm curious about which are the top priorities and the top or the top motivation for you where you think about developing energy communities. And I'm opening, if there are more majors that I have not identified, to listen all of you, which are your, when you think about energy communities, which is the top motivation, and also for you, Reigo, for your knowledge about the Estonian municipalities, which is the top motivation for you to develop an energy community? And also, second question, how feasible it is for you, because you have planned self-consumption PV plants at municipal level. How feasible is for you to update those plans and move from self-consumption to collective self-consumption and involve local communities in those plans? And I'm leaving the questions for you to answer.
Sorry, my translation, my doctor bueno, primero concienciar a la gente en que la mejora del clima es un tema de todos.
La mejora del clima.
Sí.
First, let's know the people that this better climate is better for all of us, not just for them. This the mayor of Vedra, for all the people, because they spend less money, and then it's better, of course, because of for the environment where they are living.
Y después que, bueno, pues que también económicamente puede ser muy rentable para las familias.
Yeah, también dije eso, pero bueno. Talking about money in economy for the families, so much better because they spend less money, of course. That will be all. I don't remember your first question, sorry.
Yeah, the first question which was your first motivation. So it's about climate. You say it's about climate change first, and afterwards economic savings and economic development and opportunities. And the second question is, you were planning some self-consumption plants, so some renewable energy installation in public infrastructure. So how feasible is for you to adapt that planning, and instead of only use that energy for yourself, for the public administration, to transform it to a community initiative? So include the community in the consumption of all of those plants.
La idea es crear en los edificios municipales, instalar los paneles para que, aparte de la autosuficiencia,
The idea is we are gonna talk like step by step, okay? So
en los tejados municipales, instalar paneles solares para autosuficiencia y a la vez crear la comunidad energética para...
Jolín, papá, vas muy rápido. Es que tienes que ir por partes. I don't remember everything he said, I'm sorry. Just the principal idea is like installs solar panels on the roofs.
Y aparte de la autosuficiencia energética.
And for other hand, like the autosufficient, like energy sufficient.
Bueno, crear, crear comunidad con las viviendas que están alrededor de los edificios municipales.
To create community with all the population.
Y que eso sirva de ejemplo para que después la sociedad civil
so we can use this as an example for the civil population,
pueda en sus viviendas,
so they can in their homes,
no solo instalar paneles para generar energía para sí mismo,
not just install the panels to can like create energy for themselves,
no para sus vecinos.
This can create energy to their neighborhoods.
La mejor manera de transmitir la idea,
the better way to transmit this idea,
es que el ayuntamiento lo haga él,
is that the ayuntamiento no me sale, perdón, municipality did it first with this part of the neighborhood, and then the rest of them. The people can see this progress, and if this can be better for all of us, then they can start to do it in other parts of the municipality. I hope you understand me.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Reigo, could you reflect on this self-consumption from the municipal interest, or do we have any cases in some Estonian municipalities on mini-grids or some self-consumption projects?
Yes, there are two keywords in this using and utilizing of photovoltaic energy. Now, the first one is the grid charges, and another keyword is the storage. That's the situation is that the photovoltaic panels became so cheap that the price for them, it's not an issue anymore. Those who has money and roof, he or she will install those panels and will get the solar energy. It's not a problem, but the problem is that photovoltaic energy prices have turned Estonian overall energy prices very volatile. The price graphic, it resembles the Bactrian, the camel with two hunches. The very expensive prices occur on the morning hours when people wake up and switch on their coffee machines and dishwashers and everything. before going to jobs. And another hunch will be on the evening when they return from the offices and switch on every kind of appliances. So, but and then at the daytime, the energy price is very low, often even negative on summertime. So it doesn't actually make any sense to keep them producing energy if you have to pay for the grid charges for that, but the price is very low, so often even negative. So many people, they just switch off their photovoltaic stations during the peak production time to avoid the grid charges and negative prices. Or then another case is they switch on everything they cold, like electric saunas and everything to have this consumption. So the point is that it doesn't make any sense anymore to install photovoltaic panels without the batteries. But the batteries, they used to be very expensive, but now the trend is they are getting very fast, they are getting cheaper. So the same process occurs as happened with photovoltaic panels. So in some sense, our project happened to for Estonia. It happened a little bit too late and a little bit too early. So the cooperation for buying those photovoltaic panels, it's not so much needed anymore. They are very cheap, but batteries is they're still too expensive to, for example, for apartment unions to buy those battery packs, it's still too expensive. So we are waiting now the batteries to become cheaper, so we could install them and store the cheap photovoltaic energy to use them during the time of those consumption peaks. So
thank you very much, Reigo. Rafael, do you have any other comments in relation to self-consumption and motivations for communities and collective prosuming?
I think I actually wanted to, hello, first thing. Yes, my name is Rafael. I'm one of the project partners from Estonia, from Estonian Leader Union. And actually, I have a question to Carlos and the mayor. If I understood correctly your presentation, that the local municipality give some benefits to those householders who invest to the solar panels. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. They reduce the taxes they have to pay to the municipality when they install the photovoltaic panels on their roofs.
What kind of taxes?
There is a tax over the installation, the buildings, the construction of houses and buildings that the Spanish people have to pay. So it's a municipal tax, and they can reduce or to those depending on the surface of the house and those, for example, the panels, or they can reduce these taxes.
That's a good point. Is that only practice of this municipality?
No, it's a common practice. I have. It's a way of improve or enhance the installation of photovoltaic panels. Even there, the Spanish people can have, depends on the municipality, a reduction on the tax about the mobility, the cars, the mobility over the roads. They can reduce those taxes too.
That's
or
very
even if they buy an electric car, the tax for driving that car can be reduced too.
Okay, that's good point. I think our Estonian friends, we can have to take these ideas with us and introduce to the municipalities because we don't use this kind of practice in Estonia, not yet, I think. But what was the question, Antti?
Rafael, it's even included in the CPAC strategy as one of the measures. So when they speak about citizen engagement, this is the way municipalities engage. This is one of the ways that there is engagement. I like to point out that our commitment for everyone was until 11:30. So I don't want to ask for more time than what was committed. Just that I felt that Manuel was trying to speak and share something in a couple of times. So just to give it the last chance to Manuel to share what he was thinking, and after that I think we can conclude. So please, Manuel, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Araceli. Yes, answering your question, your first questions. The main motivations was, as I said before, one of them was save money. That's clear. But as I also mentioned, I think we should move towards a different energy system, not that dependent on very large companies. This is for me, is very important. And of course, based also on clean energies, okay? So it's sustainability, but it's also an alternative system. And regarding the participation of local communities, in this case, in this initiative, for me, I have some, let's say, doubts. It's a challenge for me because I think, as the Estonian colleague mentioned, at the moment, many people are investing because you don't need a large amount of money in self-production and consumption, individuality, I mean, in their homes, okay? So I'm not sure if we are going to be able to involve neighbors, involve citizens here, at least in our case, okay? As Carlos mentioned, our initiative is like aims at being a mirror for other people, you know, like the first initiative. Let's see if other people, other neighbors, maybe companies, small companies, imitate us. Okay, so we put the money maybe at the moment, at the first moment, the municipality put the money, or at least more money. Okay, but my concern is what is going to happen if our neighbors, let's say the citizens, small companies, are gonna get involved, or maybe they're gonna get their money, put their own photovoltaic installations, and just forget about the energy community. This is something that for me is a big concern. I don't have a solution here yet. We're gonna see. We're gonna see with this project. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your honesty and for pointing that concern out, because it helps moving forward for us as well, for all of us as a team, the people that we are here. So I think we can, right, Natalia?
Yeah, of course. So thank you for your time, for being here, and yeah, for have these open discussions, interesting things and thoughts. Okay, so yeah, let's conclude the second workshop. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.